David hadn't heard from his girlfriend Sophia for days. At first, he didn't think much of it. Maybe she had gone away for a short time, but as time passed, his concern grew because there was no sign of Sophia. David looked for Sophia everywhere. She wasn't answering her phone. He asked mutual friends, but no one had seen her. That's when he came up with a name, Maggie, the journalist. Maggie was an experienced journalist who investigated missing people stories and solved many cases. David reached out to her and told her that Sophia had disappeared. Maggie started investigating, and a few days later, Sophia found out that he was looking for her. Sophia was disturbed that this research had reached her. She made a decision on her own and called Maggie. He said, "Why are you calling me?" Sophia's answer was clear. If we are to meet, it must be in a safe environment. The authorities should be there. Maggie agreed and arranged to meet the next day in the village center. The police and a lawyer would be there. In the morning, Sophia arrived at the meeting place. Maggie was there, and David too. There was a tense atmosphere inside. The policeman, the lawyer, and the journalist were waiting quietly to make sure everything was under control. It was like a courtroom. David said he loved Sophia, but Sophia had something to tell. She had experienced not only love from David, but also violence and abuse. But it didn't stop there. Sophia said that David deceived other married women after her, took their gold, and destroyed their homes. The whole village was now talking about this incident. People were telling each other what they had heard in whispers. New claims were being made. Just then, someone else came unexpectedly. Sophia's ex-husband, Michael. His eyes were filled with anger and frustration. He had something to say. Michael explained that Sophia and David had deceived him for months. He said that David came home, introduced himself as Sophia's cousin, and gained her trust. But the real bombshell was when Michael said that his own child was David's. Unable to hold back his tears, Michael explained that the child was still registered in his name and that David was shirking his responsibility. In those moments, David flatly denied these allegations. As the arguments continued, a new person arrived at the address, Sophia's relative, Mark. And what Mark had to say would take things to a whole new level. Mark suggested that Sophia was having affairs for money, but he made an even more horrifying claim. My aunt Sophia, her mother Margaret, and her brother Arthur were haunted by a man in the village. He was very rich and they ate his money, but when he found out and came after them, they hatched a terrible plan to get rid of him. They called him home, killed him, and told him they had chopped him up in a meat grinder. Mark also claimed that Sophia's family made threats after this incident. They were threatening an unknown person on the phone. We called him through a meat grinder. We bled him in the sink. No one has found us. As rumors spread through the village, Sophia's brothers, Robert and John, arrived on the scene, enraged by what they had heard. And this time, much more serious accusations were leveled against Sophia. Sophia allegedly gave her 2 daughters to a foster home. When Maggie asked her, "Why did you give your children to a foster home?" she replied, "Because David was squeezing my girls. He was abusing them." These revelations further escalated tensions. Sophia denied all the accusations. Sophia asked them to talk to her mother Margaret to prove the truth of the matter. She invited Margaret to the address. But amidst all these accusations, the truth was still unknown. The tension in the meeting room was growing. Each new arrival revealed more and more horrifying details about the incident. Just when it seemed that everything would calm down a bit, a message from Sophia's niece Clara horrified everyone. "They made us meat. We all ate that meat," she said. "I can't stomach anything that comes out of that machine. That's why he made us all eat. But not him. I hope they didn't make us eat the man." These words froze the blood of everyone in the room. Sophia had allegedly stabbed the man to death, and her mother Margaret had cleaned up the aftermath. Sophia's older brother Robert said that not only Sophia and her mother Margaret were involved, but also their brother Daniel. Robert continued like this. "They told me about it, but they didn't tell me who they killed. The guy owed money. They killed him and put him through a meat grinder. My mom gets sick when she sees minced meat. Daniel changed his name after that. He has 6 wives. He's had plastic surgery." Margaret seemed shocked by these accusations. "I like minced meat. I don't get sick," she said. Sophia flatly denied the accusations. "If there is such a thing, let them prove it. They are all lying. Mark kidnapped a 14-year-old girl, and when I reacted, they turned against me." However, a remark Sophia made while cooking at home further startled onlookers. Her relatives claimed that she said the following words, "No one can chop tomatoes or people like me." Sophia and David's old neighbor, Hannah, also decided to speak out and revealed a whole new side of things. "They scammed me in 2023, Hannah said. "David told me, if you want, I'll have your husband beaten up. Then he said, it is very easy to kill a man. They grind him in a meat grinder. It's like a paste." These words brought deathly silence to the room. Hannah continued to dig into David's past. She claimed that he was involved in treasure, that he would do anything for money. David flatly denied all these accusations. "I've never met her. It's all lies," he said. At this point, Maggie announced that she had some information. The meat grinder in question had been found, and if the story was true, a metal spoon had accidentally fallen into this machine, and the spoon was completely pulverized. This machine was very powerful. Suspicion now pointed to the possibility that a murder had indeed been committed. But it didn't end there, because another case involving David came to light. There was another woman, Jane, whom David had kidnapped for years. At this, Maggie lashed out at him. "Who do you think you are?" David claimed he didn't know Jane, but the truth would soon be revealed because it was determined that David and Jane had a 6-year relationship. Maggie demanded that Jane be found immediately and that she tell her side of the story. Jane finally arrived at the likely address. She could have been one of the most important figures behind the scenes of this terrible event, and what she had to say would change the course of events forever. Jane's eyes were full. She took a deep breath and began to speak. "David introduced himself to me as a policeman. One day, we were sitting in the park and my husband saw us, so I left the house that night. I stayed at David's mother's house. But the real shock came later. David had children with Sophia, and I found out too late. Worse, they even charged me for the DNA test." Sophia denied the allegations. "David walked in on Jane with someone else. That's why they broke up," she said. However, another truth had come to light. It turns out that Sophia and her family sold a meat grinder worth $10,000 for only $500. And why? Did they want to get rid of it as soon as possible? Or were there really traces of a murder in this machine? Daniel denied all these allegations. "It's all made up. I wasn't even here at the time." But what Robert and John said made things even more complicated. Daniel is not even our brother. He was born out of Margaret's illegitimate relations. Will this shed light on the truth behind the murder, or will everything become even more complicated?